Imagine a candle that has been burning through a long night. By now, the flame has passed its tallest point. The wax has melted down. But look closely. The light has not grown weaker. It has grown warmer, softer, more intimate. It no longer tries to light up the whole room. It simply glows, quietly, beautifully, right where it is. That candle is you. If you are watching this, you have likely lived 6, 7, maybe 8 decades on this earth. You have worked, you have raised families, you have endured losses that no one else fully understands. You have carried burdens you never asked for. And now perhaps you find yourself in a quiet room of life, wondering what comes next. The world around you may tell you that your best years are behind you. American culture worships youth, speed, productivity. When you can no longer keep up with that pace, it's easy to feel like you've been left behind, like the candle is just burning out. But I want to tell you something different today, something that the Buddha understood 2600 years ago. You are not running out of time. You are entering the most sacred season of your life. In the Buddhist tradition, old age is not a decline, it is an awakening. It is the season when the noise finally quiets down and you can hear what your heart has been whispering all along. The Dhammapada, one of the oldest collections of the Buddha's words, reminds us that a human life is rare and precious, more rare than a blind turtle surfacing in a vast ocean and placing its head through a single floating ring. You have this life, you still have it, and what you do with these remaining years matters more than everything that came before. Today, I want to share with you 5 meaningful things, 5 pieces of inner work that I believe deserve your full attention for the rest of your life. These are not items on a bucket list. You don't need to skydive or visit Paris. What I'm offering is deeper than that. These are the things that'll bring you genuine peace. The kind of peace that no vacation, no medication, and no amount of money can buy. Let's begin. Number 1. Cultivate inner stillness, not busyness. For most of your adult life, you were rewarded for doing, for producing, for showing up, clocking in, checking off the list. Your identity was built around what you did, your job title, your role in the family, your responsibilities. And then, one day, that structure fell away. Retirement came. The children moved out. The calendar emptied. And for many people, that emptiness feels terrifying. I've seen it many times. A retired executive walks into our meditation center. He's 72 years old. He's run companies. He's led teams of hundreds. But when I ask him to sit still for 20 minutes and simply follow his breath, his hands start shaking. Not from illness, from discomfort. He tells me afterward, "That was the hardest thing I've done in years. I felt guilty just sitting there, like I should be doing something." This is what decades of busyness do to the mind. They convince you that your worth depends on your output, that rest is laziness, that stillness is a waste of time. But the Buddha taught the exact opposite. He spent 6 years chasing extreme practices, starving himself, punishing his body, before he finally sat down under a tree and simply breathed. And in that stillness, he found what no amount of doing could ever produce. He found awakening. You don't need to become the Buddha, but you do need to learn the art of being rather than doing. And now, in the quieter season of your life, you finally have the space to practice. Here's what I recommend. It is very simple. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you turn on the news, before you make your to-do list, sit down somewhere comfortable. Close your eyes and breathe. Just breathe. Follow the air as it enters through your nose, fills your chest, and leaves again. Do this for 10 minutes. That's all. 10 minutes of being alive without needing to accomplish anything. This is called Anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. It is one of the oldest meditation practices in Buddhism, and it is available to you right now, exactly as you are. You don't need to sit on the floor. You don't need to twist into any position. A chair is perfect. Your living room is perfect. Stillness is not laziness. It is the deepest form of courage. It takes real bravery to stop running and just be here, with yourself, with this moment, with whatever arises. Start there. Let me ask you a personal question. Is there someone from your past, maybe from many years ago, whose name still makes your chest tighten? Someone who hurt you, betrayed you, disappointed you so deeply that you've carried that wound for decades? If you said yes, you're not alone. Almost everyone I meet over the age of 60 carries at least one heavy resentment. A parent who was never there, a spouse who left, a child who said something unforgivable, a friend who disappeared when you needed them most. These old wounds are like heavy suitcases. You've been dragging them through the airport of your life for 30, 40, maybe 50 years. And now you're approaching the final gate. Let me ask you, do you really want to carry those bags onto the last flight? In the Buddhist tradition, we speak of metta, loving kindness, and the practice of releasing ill will. And I want to be very clear about something. Forgiveness in Buddhism is not about saying that what happened was okay. It is not about pretending the pain didn't matter. It is not about letting the other person off the hook. Forgiveness is about letting yourself off the hook. When you hold on to resentment, the person who suffers most is not the one who wronged you. It is you. The Buddha compared it to holding a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. You are the one getting burned. I once knew a woman, 78 years old, who had carried anger toward her former husband for over 40 years. He had been unfaithful, he had been cruel, and he had been dead for 10 years. But she still couldn't speak his name without her voice trembling. One day, at our meditation retreat, I suggested she write him a letter, not to send, just to write. She spent 3 hours pouring everything onto paper. Every hurt, every tear, every sleepless night. Then she walked outside, sat under a tree, read the letter out loud to no one, and burned it. She came back inside and told me, I feel 30 pounds lighter. That's what letting go feels like. Not like condoning, like liberation. If you're ready, here's a practice you can try tonight. Sit quietly, bring to mind the face of someone you still resent, and silently, gently say these words. May you be free from suffering. May you find peace. You might not feel it at first. That's okay. Say it anyway. The heart opens slowly, like a door that's been shut for a long time. It needs patience, not force. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to others. It is the final act of self-liberation. Number 3. Simplify your life radically. When the Buddha was a young prince named Siddhartha, he lived in a palace filled with every luxury the world could offer. Gold, silk, music, feasts, and yet none of it brought him peace. So he walked away. He left it all behind, and he spent the rest of his life owning almost nothing. A robe, a bowl, and the open sky above him. Now, I'm not asking you to give away your home and become a wandering monk. But I am asking you to consider this. How much of what you own actually brings you joy? And how much of it is just weight? There's a concept that's become popular recently. The Swedish call it death cleaning. It means going through your belongings as you age and deciding what stays and what goes, so your loved ones aren't burdened after you're gone. It's a practical idea, but the Buddha taught this same principle 2600 years earlier, and he went deeper. It's not just about closets and attics, it's about simplifying everything. Simplify your possessions, yes. Go through that garage, donate the things you haven't touched in 5 years. Let them go to someone who needs them. But also simplify your commitments. How many clubs, groups, and obligations are you part of out of habit rather than genuine nourishment? It's okay to say no. It's okay to step back. Not every invitation requires a yes. Simplify your information. The 24-hour news cycle is designed to keep you anxious. It profits from your fear. You do not owe the world your constant attention. Read less news. Take fewer opinions into your mind. Protect your inner environment with the same care you'd protect your garden. And simplify your relationships. This doesn't mean cutting people off. It means being honest about which connections nourish your spirit and which ones drain it. At this stage of life, you have earned the right to spend your time only with people who make you feel more alive. I once visited an elderly monk in a small forest monastery. His entire life fit in a space no bigger than a parking spot. 3 robes, 1 bowl, 1 copy of the suttas. And his smile? Oh, his smile was wider than the smile of any billionaire I've ever seen on television. He had nothing, and he lacked nothing. The less you carry, the further you can walk, and the more you can see. Number 4. Deepen your connection with others through genuine presence. In America today, there is a quiet epidemic that rarely makes the headlines. It's not a virus. It's not a disease you can see under a microscope. It's loneliness. The United States Surgeon General has called it one of the greatest public health crises of our time, and it hits seniors harder than anyone else. Millions of Americans over 60 live alone. Many go days without a meaningful conversation. And I don't mean chatting about the weather or scrolling through social media. I mean the kind of conversation where someone truly sees you and you truly see them. The Buddha valued human connection deeply. He once said that kalyana mittata, good friendship, wholesome companionship, is not just part of the spiritual path. It is, in his words, the whole of the holy life. The whole of it. Not a piece, the whole thing. But here's what most people misunderstand. Connection is not about having more social activities. It's not about joining another club or signing up for another group trip. Connection is about the quality of your presence. Think about the last time you sat with your grandchild. Were you truly there? Or were you thinking about your doctor's appointment? Were you listening? Or were you waiting for your turn to speak? Deep listening is a spiritual practice. When you sit across from another human being and give them your full, undivided attention, no phone, no distractions, no agenda, something sacred happens. They feel it, and so do you. Here's what I encourage you to do. The next time you're with someone you love, a friend, a child, a grandchild, put your phone in another room, look into their eyes, and ask them one simple question. How are you really doing? And then wait. Don't rush to fill the silence. Don't jump in with advice. Just wait. Let them speak. Let them be heard. You might be surprised at what happens. People are starving to be listened to. And you, with your years of experience, your patience, your warm presence, you have a gift that no young person can offer. You have the gift of unhurried attention. And if you feel isolated, if you don't have many people around you, consider this. Join a sangha, a meditation community, or volunteer somewhere you can give the gift of presence. Sit with patients in a hospital, visit a hospice, read to children at a library. You don't need to do anything extraordinary. Just show up, be there. That's enough. You don't need more friends. You need more moments of being truly seen and truly seeing another. Number 5. Make peace with death, and therefore with life. This is the one no one wants to talk about, and yet it is the most important thing I will say to you today. In American culture, death is the great taboo. We hide it behind hospital curtains. We use soft words, passed away, no longer with us, as if we can soften the reality by choosing gentler language. We spend billions of dollars trying to look younger, feel younger, live longer, anything to avoid facing the simple truth that every life comes to an end. And because we avoid thinking about death, we live in constant low-level fear of it. It hums beneath everything, beneath our worries about health, our anxiety about money, our desperate clinging to routines. We don't talk about it, but we feel it every day. The Buddha took the opposite approach. He didn't hide from death. He looked directly at it. He taught a practice called Maranasasati, mindfulness of death. And he considered it one of the most powerful meditations available to any human being. He said, and I'll paraphrase, "Of all the footprints, that of the elephant is supreme. Of all mindfulness meditations, that on death is supreme." This is not morbid. This is not pessimistic. This is the ultimate wake-up call. When you contemplate your own death, not in panic, not in despair, but with calm, clear awareness, something extraordinary happens. Everything becomes vivid. The coffee tastes richer. The birdsong sounds clearer. The face of your grandchild becomes unbearably beautiful. Because you finally understand, not just intellectually, but in your bones, that none of this is permanent. And that's exactly what makes it precious. I know a man, 80 years old, who began practicing death meditation every morning. Before his feet touched the floor, he would lie in bed and think, "I may not survive this day. If this is my last morning, have I lived well? Have I been kind? Have I said what needed to be said?" After 3 months of this practice, he told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Bhante, since I started thinking about death every morning, I have never felt more alive. I taste my coffee differently. I hug my grandchildren longer. I tell my daughter I love her every time we talk. Not because I'm afraid, because I'm awake." That is what Maranasati gives you. Not fear, freedom. And there is a practical side to this as well. If you haven't already, I gently encourage you to have honest conversations with your family about your wishes. Write your advance directives. Tell your children what you want and what you don't want when the time comes. This isn't morbid. This is one of the greatest acts of compassion you can offer to the people who love you. You spare them from guessing. You spare them from guilt. You give them the gift of clarity, and that is love. When you stop running from death, you finally start living fully. Let's return for a moment to the candle we began with. It has burnt lower now. The wax has melted. But the flame, look at it. The flame is still here, warm, steady, quiet, not trying to prove anything, just giving light. In Buddhism, there is a symbol even more beloved than the candle. It is the lotus flower, and there's a reason we chose it for the name of this channel. The lotus does not grow in clean water. It grows in mud, in swamp, in the dark, thick muck at the bottom of a pond. And yet, when it rises to the surface, it blooms, white, pink, luminous, completely untouched by the filth it came from. Your life may have had mud, plenty of it, loss, disappointment, illness, loneliness, regret. But that mud is not your enemy. It is your soil. It is the very ground from which your deepest wisdom, your most genuine compassion, and your truest peace can bloom. So let me leave you with these 5 things once more as seeds to carry forward. 1. Cultivate inner stillness. Stop doing, start being. 10 minutes of breath in the morning can change the entire color of your day. 2. Heal and release old resentments. Forgive, not for them, but for you. Put the hot coal down. Your hands deserve rest. 3. Simplify your life radically. Less stuff, less noise, less obligation, more space for what truly nourishes your heart. 4. Deepen your connection with others through genuine presence. One real conversation is worth more than 100 casual ones. Show up, listen, be there. And 5. The bravest one of all. Make peace with death. Look at it, sit with it, and discover that on the other side of that fear is the most vivid, grateful, awake life you've ever known. You have lived long enough to know that the world is both beautiful and broken. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to accomplish one more thing. What you need, what the world needs from you, is for you